Hi, my name is Rick Howell. I'm a TV guy, and this show is called Talk Back to Television. It's about the business of television, how we make the programs, how we distribute the programs, and mostly how we pay for the programs. Because if we can't pay for the shows, there's nothing to watch. Stay tuned. Good morning. This is Talk Back to Television, and I'm here with my friend Will Kreth. Will, how are you?
Hey, Rick. Good to see you.
I met Will when he was part of the ecosystem that was trying to reinvent television with interactivity during a long stint at Time Warner, and then he was also at Showtime after I left there. But right now, let's see if I can get this right. When we have in the new AI agreement as it applies to SAG-AFTRA, and I had a show with my friend Eric Bear about this, the agreement makes sense, the reimbursements make sense. The issue is, how do you track whether or not my image or your image appeared in reality or virtual reality or AI generative, whatever, and or my voice? How do you basically track all this crap? Is that pretty much a description of what your service does?
Yeah, that's pretty much accurate.
Okay, and by the way, the name of your service is what?
Hand, Human, and Digital.
Human and Digital. Subtitle, yes. Tracking all this crap. Okay.
Yes, tracking a name, image, and likeness rights. So nil, is like, that doesn't mean nothing. Like nil would be like 5-0 in England in a football, soccer match. Right. No, nil, name, image, and likeness is a area of growing interest in professional sports and in acting, in media, in television, film. And it's around the notion of your likeness, your rights, your agency to license your digital likeness. Now, you mentioned briefly the SAG-AFTRA agreement, which was settled in December by the membership. And the conversation there was around the notion of employment-based digital replicas. And independent digital replicas and synthetic performers, which could be not based on a human being at all, but could be a synthetic character, like a non-player character, right? Like in the video game world.
All right, hold on. I want to interrupt one thing. Speaking of SAG-AFTRA, let's get the plug in. You have the fellow who negotiated that deal on a seminar coming up on February 7th, right?
Yes, our generative AI talent utilization webinar is going to be on February 7th, and it's on LinkedIn off of our page. You can find it very easily off the Hand, Human, and Digital LinkedIn company page is a link to the webinar that we're having on the site.
And that'll be linked up in this show and all the promotion for this show and all like such as that. Now, you know, the one thing I remember from the conversations I had with Eric Bear about that agreement, it's only 2 years.
3.
It's 3 years, okay, which is pretty damn short in television negotiation terms. Right. So we as an industry have to jump right on to administering who's doing what to whom, and that's what you're doing here, aren't you?
Yeah, and keeping track of things there's a grand tradition of that. Is an old saying from Clyde Smith that was at Fox Sports for years. I think it's originally credited to him, is that if you can't identify it, you can't measure it, and if you can't measure it, you can't automate the process around it, right?
Okay.
So identifying all the objects in any supply chain, be it packaged goods or be it songs for Spotify with the International Standard Recording Code, unique identifiers have been around a long time. And by the way, when I was running a ID registry called the Entertainment ID Registry that won an Emmy in October of last year, they won the technical Emmy, 13 years into their existence, started by Movie Labs and also co-founded by Rovi and Comcast and Cable Labs. That effort started in 2010 around what? Kind of a barcode for film and television titles, right? So we often explain it as kind of like we're your barcode for talent in entertainment and sports in real and virtual worlds. So when we started this journey, I was asked when I was running the Entertainment ID Registry in 2018, I was running from 17 to 19, hey, we love what you guys do. And this was a question from CAA, the world's largest talent agent, one of the world's largest talent agencies. Right. Love what you guys do for putting a barcode on film and TV titles, could you do the same thing for actors, writers, directors, producers, the above the line credits in Hollywood, the individuals who are the creative juice and mojo and the energy and the lifeblood of the industry, to give them a way to have a unique identifier in contracts, in negotiations, in deal memos. When I worked at Showtime for 3 years, we always knew that metadata was instantiated, begun its journey, its twisted path from deal memo to glass or smart screen or theatrical, whatever the release point was, at the contract level. And so the more information you can have that's verifiable at the upstream origin of a project, greenlit show, a rights management conversation around, hey, can I license this content? It's better for everyone in the supply chain, across the value chain.
All right, now hold on. We've only got now about 4 minutes left, so I want to get down to the nitty and the gritty on this thing.
Bring it. Let's bring it.
You're not putting a barcode of my image in a piece of video, are you?
No, we're providing an identifier.
What is that?
A unique string of letters and numbers that is many characters long, that allows people to have an immutable, unique identifier for their legal and natural person, for any connected, licensed digital replicas of that individual, right? For tracking purposes. Because if you want your avatar to earn money for you while you sleep, well, you should be able to keep track of that.
Oh, yeah.
And for fictional characters, because for every Spider-Man and Batman and Barbie we've seen over the years, those are interchangeably portrayed by different humans, by different legal and natural people. 3-part ontology: the legal, the virtual, and the fictional. When you remember that, it's like a triangle. It's really easy to keep it straight, right? So we said about that journey of doing it through the standards process, using the same standards body organization that EIDR uses. That's the DOI Foundation. In 2021, we asked them, and by January 23, we got full approval from the DOI Foundation to become a registration agency at a peer level, same level as EIDR and 10 other registration agencies around the world. And they started in the scientific research community, basically putting numbers on research papers and scientific journals, because the web, as we know, has gone up and down over the years, and just a pointer to something is often helpful, especially if you can't be sure it's going to be there. That website won't go up or down, right? Persistence, selling the concept of persistence.
Let's get down into plain English here, okay?
Sure, yes, sir.
How does it work to protect me as an actor with the show that's appearing on Paramount Plus?
How it works is that we're a B2B service, right? So we're not going to be selling a retail, like, come pay your ticket and you get your number.
Right.
We start with a business-to-business approach, working with studios like Sony Pictures Entertainment is a beta partner of ours. Okay. The American Film Institute is a beta partner of ours. These are talent identity libraries that already exist today that have an internal ID inside of a Sony or an AFI, but don't resolve or don't map or match to a global identifier. Now, what we are about is provenance and automation of the provenance of where did the talent come from, and in a measurable, quantifiable way. There is a lot of issues around deepfakes for Tom Hanks and Mr. Beast and others, and there is technologies that are now shopping around the notion of detection of deepfakes. But there's an effort underway, a industry-wide effort you may have heard of, called the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, the C2PA, has been referred to in President Biden's executive order on generative AI, and also in 3 other bills in the House and Senate, around the notion of a watermarking, fingerprinting attestation, a manifest of unique metadata about where did it come from, and it's where did the image come from, or where did the video come from. And they're working with camera makers and suppliers of watermarking technologies to create the standard around the embedded information, that metadata payload, about where did that image or video come from, and the chain of custody back to the rights holders, right? So we don't pretend to be an end-to-end or a turnkey solution. We're a piece of the puzzle, valuable piece of the puzzle around unique identification and verifiable credentials, working with partners across the industry like the C2PA work that's with Adobe and BBC and Intel and Microsoft around attribution, source verification. Where did this come from? Can we trace it? Is it like the Contra Credentials announcement last fall with Adobe talked about a CR code on an image? And also OpenAI just a week or two ago announced they're working with the C2PA on labeling DALL-E 3 images coming out as AI created. Okay. So it takes a village, a lot of partners to create a collective consensus around what's real and what isn't, as opposed to the horse got out of the barn and we can't track anything and no one knows what's real or what's not.
All right. Last thing, we are out of time, but I want you to tell our audience what they should do right now.
Well, the audience, if it's in the acting
producers and distributors, that's who we're talking to.
They need to talk to their teams and their organizations and say, hey, we should consider the sense of working through the standards process about getting hand identifiers for our talent label databases, talent databases, so that you can create a linkage between your internal data and a globally resolvable identifier. It's free to resolve that identifier, which is powerful. We want to be two things, Rick, don't forget this, as ubiquitous as a barcode and as freely resolvable as an IP address, because anytime you look up a website, you're getting an IP address on the back end.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
And it's a free lookup and free resolution.
All right. On February 7th at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific,
yes,
they can go to the LinkedIn link that will attach to this show and the promotion for this show and tune in, and they're going to learn more about what all this means. They're going to learn more about what they can do, right?
Yeah, it's trying to optimize the opportunities of utilizing talent with traceability, custody, provenance, and verifiable origin stories around where did it come from and can we track it, measure it, and make sure everyone gets compensated in the value chain.
Cool, man. All right, Will Kreth, we will see you on February 7th. Thank you for your time, sir.
I look forward to it, Rick. Great to see you as always.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks.